Hey Buffy fans, hey TV fans, Bored Now back with you, aka Keith. Today I am going to be talking about Buffy Season 6, Episode 3. It is called Afterlife. But before I get into the episode, a couple of important things just to say from the off. This review is the first I've done since the very sad passing of Nicholas Brendon this weekend, so RIP to him, a huge loss to the Buffy community. Just 54, no age to go really nowadays, and he was such a big part of Buffy and the Buffyverse as a whole, and such a warm and lovable character. So yeah, this episode, this video goes out to Nicholas Brendon, RIP. My thoughts are with his loved ones and anyone close and connected to him. There's only one Xander really. I can't see anyone else in that role, and that means a lot. So that's probably the biggest tribute I can pay to him. But before I move on to other things, I will just say that this coming Wednesday on the Revisiting the Buffyverse channel, I will be doing a special live stream as a tribute to Nicholas Brendon, to Xander Harris, the character. So on the Revisiting the Buffyverse channel, on that stream on Wednesday, I will be watching 3 big Xander themed episodes on stream. So I'll be watching Teacher's Pet from the first season, I will be watching the Zeppo from season 3, and I will also Replacement. I had to think of the episode title, but The Replacement, and that's from season 5. So that's this Wednesday. I'm not quite sure of the time. It'll be roughly the time that I normally stream. So if you are in the UK, that's normally around about 10:30 at night, 10:30 p.m, maybe 11:15. I'll set the stream later anyway. So if you're in the US, then you're looking at that being around about 6:30. If you're watching this on the Revisiting the Buffyverse channel, then, and you're already subscribed, then it's on this channel. So that's nice and easy. But if you are watching this on my main TV and film channel, because I am putting these Buffy reviews on that channel as well, and you haven't subscribed to Revisiting the Buffyverse on YouTube, then that is the channel you need to subscribe to and go to check out the stream on Wednesday. One other thing, because it came up because I'm talking about Afterlife, I will be reading a little bit from this book, Why Buffy Matters, from Rhonda Wilcox. It's a great Buffy themed book with lots of really good essays. I highly recommend it, but there's a really good section on Afterlife and on the end scene of the episode with Buffy and Spike in the alley, and it's a scene I'm going to be talking quite a bit about. And if you haven't read it, I do recommend it. I've read it a couple of times. I think it's a really interesting, well written book with a lot of passion behind it. For cynics of like the last couple of seasons of Buffy, it's a really good read for those people also, because I think Rhonda Wilcox makes some really sound arguments for why those seasons are maybe a bit underappreciated, and maybe why they're a little bit better than they're given credit for, especially season 6. So I've rambled enough. Let's get on with Buffy Afterlife. Afterlife is directed by David Solomon. It's written by Jane Espenson, which is an interesting choice for this, considering it's not a particularly comedic episode. Definitely some standard trademark Espenson lines you can feel in the dialogue. It originally aired on October the 9th, 2001. It got a Nielsen rating of roughly 5.58 million. And it holds a solid IMDb score of 7.8. So Buffy and her friends battle a demon that may have hitched a ride with Buffy as she crossed into the world from another dimension. This is another really strong episode that keeps the early season momentum going nicely. It's a fun little mix of like B-movie thrills and also some really good drama, and continuing to build nicely the season arc and themes, and the way it handles the fallout of Buffy's return and some of the side effects are really well done. There's some good psychological moments with her in the episode. It's a really well directed episode by David Solomon. I don't know if he directed any other Buffy episodes up to this point. He's a name I know from TV, but I'm not sure if it's as a regular on Buffy. Really good job. Like, he sets the tone very nicely. There's some good direction in the horror scenes. So like Buffy appearing in the middle of night to Willow and Tara in silhouette in the dark is like just a really striking image. Anya, when she gets affected, and the blood and the white, because it's a regular thing, the characters who get affected when the demon / ghost has jumped into them, they suddenly appear with white eyes. So that on the scene may be the most terrifying of the episode. So there's some good horror direction, but he also does a really good job in setting the mood and the tone in the more intimate, dramatic scene. When Dawn first brings Buffy home, like, that's just a great example. And just how dead and quiet the house is, and how moody the lighting is. It's just perfect, and the actors do a really good job in the episode. Not surprisingly, like Sarah Michelle Gellar's very good at just playing this very out of it, right with it Buffy, which makes a lot of sense. The way how gentle Dawn is with her, like Michelle Trachtenberg, and the way she delivers the lines is very good. I like the line when she's cleaning Buffy. Dawn says to Buffy what Mum said, "Clean that neck," or "wet potatoes." I can't do it justice, but it's awkward, it's sweet, and it's great that Dawn digs into that memory as something which maybe she can use to settle Buffy down. It's also really cool how protective Dawn is, and how she stands up for Buffy and tells the other Scoobies to, hey, give her a bit of space. She's only just got back. She's bewildered. She needs to settle back in. Just back off when they're all badgering her with questions. So that's a really good sister moment for Dawn. How intimate those scenes are is just perfect, and you then get a really nice gentle scene with Buffy and Spike when he comes home, and he's all taken aback by Buffy suddenly being back when he realizes it's Buffy and not the Buffy bot. And just that shot of Buffy and Spike sitting down like face to face, Spike's regret over his part of not saving her, but he's thought about her for all that time. He even lists the amount of days she's been gone, 161. That's a beautiful detail, because that's something when someone is gone from your life, and someone you were really close to, whether it be a friend, family member, or obviously Spike having romantic feelings for Buffy. So him just remembering the amount of days she's been gone, that makes a lot of sense. Another thing I noticed rewatching the episode was how it's only really the non-human characters who get spell was a mistake, it was risky, and that the consequence of it is that Buffy's going to come back wrong. Telling that the demons really get that. Like Anya, I guess because of her experiences as a vengeance demon, and Spike, because one of the things he picks up on is she's got dirty hands because she's come from the grave. And I can relate to that. And he just gets how traumatic that part of coming back from the dead can be. He gets criticised a lot, especially in the later seasons when they're trying to humanise him. Spike gets a lot of stick for being very selfish. And as season 6 goes on and into season 7, we're definitely going to see some of that stuff. But I think at this point, early on in the season, I don't think you can label that at him. In fact, I will give him credit in this episode because he's very unselfish in how supportive he is on Buffy. To me, it's an unselfish act for him to be, yes, I'm happy in one way that she's back. This wasn't the right way and there are consequences. And he has that great line to Xander after they've had a bit of a set to, there's always consequences to magic. Always. And that line just nails not just Buffy coming back and the whole thing in this episode, but it also sets up some of the things we're going to be seeing later in the season as well. Willow in this episode is that she's in denial, and that's going to be something which is going to become very consistent. So other characters reference this. One of the reasons why they didn't maybe tell Spike about the plan and why they didn't tell Dawn was the worry that there would be something would go wrong, and even if they brought Buffy back, there would be consequences. It wouldn't quite be the same. And Spike says at one point to Xander, that's probably why Willow didn't let me in on all this. Probably that did cross her mind, but she was maybe a little bit too stubborn because she wanted to bring her best friend back, and she was in denial, and she's in denial in this episode. That's definitely something that we see with her character. Another reason coming out of the episode why it may have been a mistake to cast the spell, Dawn mentions when they're talking about how they can reverse this thing with the demon, the ghost thing. And one of the ideas is that if Buffy's not here, then the demon will probably go. Dawn very passionately is like, no, you can't do that. You can't give her back to me and then take her away that fast. Good reason why this maybe wasn't the best idea, because you're playing with people's emotions. None more so than Dawn. Like, if there's anyone who this situation must be tearing up more than anyone else, then it's Dawn. Really love the intimacy of the episode and some of the drama, but there's also some good horror in the episode, and it's a fun little gimmick. Like, it's a nice way to combine the two things, and it's a nice way to show some of the consequences of Buffy coming back. A little Scooby Gang meeting, so that's again going back to basics, which is another thing I enjoy. And it has this theory about literally just hitching a ride with Buffy, almost like a hitchhiker. And later on, Willow figures out then what might have happened is then it was actually a trade-off. Them casting the spell and bringing Buffy back as part of that trade-off. A new demon, and this demon ghost thing, whatever you want to call it, comes into the universe and latches onto them, and that's part of the thing. So I actually do quite like that as like an explanation, like an alternative thing. And when Dawn, how come it's not appearing to us then? And Willow has a good answer for that as well. It caught between the two universes is pretty much what she said. So I like them. It's not exactly what you think the answer is at first, and they lay down some pretty solid rules. They're probably a little bit loose on certain rules as well, if I'm going to be a little bit critical, and maybe it's never quite as defined as it could be what the thing is, but there's definitely some solid groundwork, some solid rules that are in the episode, and the back and forth and the Scooby meetings, I think, are a good part of the episode. I think my only real big complaint about the episode is that it does balance quite a lot, and sometimes the tone is a bit uneven. Also got some quirky, quite funny, like Jane Espenson style lines thrown into the mix in what is mostly quite a serious episode. Drama I've talked about already. The supernatural stuff, even though bits of it are quite scary and there's some freaky like set pieces, at times it does come off a little bit like B-movie and cheesy. Stuff like Dawn randomly spitting out fire like she's a friggin' dragon. Oh, and by the way, I'm not complaining about that. I fucking marked about that because I forgot about that scene, and I love shit like that. It's a cool scene, no doubt about it. Rule of cool and all that, guys. But yeah, it's just that some of the supernatural stuff in the episode is like more genuine, like, okay, this is freaky, this is atmospheric, this is scary time. And then other stuff like that, it's just a cool, like, B-movie moment. They even give them, like, one line. When Xander is possessed all of a sudden, and he's like, nice tip. That's quite a good line, and Nicholas Brendan gets a good delivery on that one. And it's before it disappeared, and it's when it's been revealed to the demon. Only temporary, it's staying on Earth, so if they can just ride it out, the Scoobies, then it'll eventually vanish. But if it can get to Buffy and kill her, basically say. And that's another where it's not quite explained. It's a little bit inconsistent. You know, is this a ghost? Is it a demon? It appears to be a ghost for most of the episode. So if it's a ghost, how can it physically kill Buffy? Yeah. So, but there's a little bit of inconsistent. I mean, at the end of the day, I think it is a fun supernatural style episode, which probably that stuff you're maybe not meant to take that seriously. It's just like an add-on and a thing to connect, and another way to show a consequence of them bringing Buffy back and some of the risk. Supernatural scenes are really well done, and it builds to this big moment with the ghost going after Buffy, which is quite a cool scene.
Did they tell you belonged here? Did they say this was your home again? Were you offered pretty lies, little girl? Or did they even give you a choice?
With our motions came to pass, we rescind no past devotions. Give thee substance, give thee mass.
You're the one who's barely here, set on this earth like a bubble.
Tree.
That's probably the sort of thing I'm not supposed to see.
Damn, Buffy, you beat up Casper, or evil Casper, what the hell? Also, that spell that Willow and Tara cast, that scene, sure that gets used later on in the credits, like the opening credits. It's either later on this season, like they insert it, or maybe it's in the final season, but I'm sure they used the image of them holding hands, meditating, and the whole magic thing. It's a really iconic image anyway from the episode, and we see at one point Willow going a bit off book and digging into the dark magic. Thing became corporeal for a moment, and that allowed Buffy to behead it, and that was a cool beheading. The ghost had a lot to say for itself. I guess that's what happens when Jane Espenson writes the episode. It's a whole monologue. Early 2000s network TV effect looked really bad also, but bad in kind of like a charming way. I've seen much worse, guys, even in movies. That's most of the big stuff from the episode. The only thing really left is to talk about the final scene in the alley with Buffy and Spike. But the lead up to the scene, Buffy comes to her friends in the magic box, and she tells a little white lie, like she pretends to them that she was in a hell dimension. But the big point of it, which pays off something from earlier in the episode, is that she says thank you for pulling me out. Even though she is lying about it being a hell dimension, probably a side of her that's probably happy to be back on Earth and ultimately with her friends again. So it's going to be mixed feelings at the end of the day. The lead up into the big scene in the alley with Spike. The way it's shot, again, not just the dialogue in scene. In this alley, it's a shade. Buffy goes into the back alley. It's a way to escape for him. I'm in the shade. That's just a cool little visual choice, but yeah, it's almost like a thing saying Spike's caught between the light and the dark, and the camera kind of focuses on that, and it's kind of saying that Buffy is as well, so I like that. Another thing I like is Spike dismissing Buffy and the Scoobies having like a hug, touchy-feely type moment. says it makes him feel queasy. And I love when Spike, especially in the later seasons when he's meant to be like a good guy, or at least more good than he has been, finds that masks his humanity, mocking human emotions. But maybe in an ideal world he would be like a Scooby, or he would become a member of the Scooby. Just like in an ideal world, Buffy could be like a regular gal. Spike gets real with her and is very supportive. He asks Buffy if she's okay, which a lot of people haven't really asked her. If you're feeling bad or in pain, if there's anything I can do, he puts, and he gives her the space, and it allows her to open up. This is what she said. I was happy. Wherever I was happy, at peace. I knew that everyone I cared about was all right. I knew it. Time didn't mean anything. Nothing had form, but I was still me, you know, and I was warm, and I was loved, and I was finished, complete. I don't understand theology or dimensions, any of it really, but I think I was in heaven, and now I'm not. I was torn out of there, pulled out by my friends. Everything here is hard and bright and violent. Everything I feel, everything I touch, this is hell. And that kind of like brings us into like the more gloomy, nihilistic feeling of season 6, which has left some long-term Buffy fans cold, and one of the reasons why this isn't maybe a season for them overall. Before Buffy leaves, she says to Spike, or it's a way of asking him, but she says, they can never know, don't tell them. And by the way, I'm just saying this, guys, and then I'll get off the kissing Spike's butt thing. I'm pretty sure he doesn't break that promise. Like, he doesn't tell them. Buffy, on the one hand, opening up, feeling she's comfortable opening up to Spike, but not her friends, not even Dawn. Also to request, you can never tell them, is another powerful statement. It's a great scene and the perfect way to cap off the episode because of what it sets up moving forward. I didn't even say Sarah Michelle Gellar and James Masters are both really good in the scene also. Restraint performance from both of them. It's almost like how much they're holding back and how much they get across just with facial expressions or just talking very sort of softly and somberly. Like, they're both really great in the scene, and it's an example of them working really well together. Probably one of my favourite scenes of season 6. It might even be one of my favourite scenes of the whole show. That's how good the scene is. But as I promised earlier, I was going to read a little bit from the Why Buffy Matters book, Rhonda Wilcox, which does quite a good bit on the scene and adds some new ideas to it too. I recommend this book. I will put the Amazon link in the description to this video. That's Buffy, she associates the brightness of this world with violence, hard and bright and violent, pain as bright as steel. It is the brilliance of the light of pain she has flung herself through in the gift, in order to do her appointed task. The work I have to do, to save lives and to cross over, and as she falls cruciform, her face in the light shows both pain and ecstasy. In Afterlife, she crosses over the border of light and dark which Spike has marked, and she must painfully force herself into the light. In the Buffyverse, the pain of the light is not associated solely with the difficult return, but with crossing in either direction. At times of a major step in the story, at a point of what might be called cognitive dissonance, repeatedly there is a visual image associating strong light with pain and with a border or a threshold. Up and down the stairwell of Buffy's house, a locale for many significant moments, are hung 4 prints of slightly varying threshold images, pictures of arches through which greater or lesser darkness can be seen. Wilcox is using this philosopher Campbell as part of the example. He emphasises the threshold that is varying forms the hero must pass by means of bravery or wisdom. He refers, for example, to the Pawnee sundawn through which souls pass back and forth from time to eternity, burned in the fire of life. So that's just a little bit from the Why Buffy Matters book, and again, Rhonda Wilcox, the author of that, a little bit added to some of what I was saying about that scene in Afterlife. So that's just about the episode. The only thing left for me to do is my wrap-up rating stuff. I'm going to give the episode 8 out of 10, even though there's 1 or 2 things that could have been better. Just the way it mixes the drama and the B-movie and the freaky ghost stuff, I think it's all very well done. Because it ends on such a great note with that Spike Buffy alley scene, then I've got to go as high as an 8. It's probably one of the lower 8s, but overall I think it is a very strong episode and a nice follow-up to the season premiere. Don't worry, season 6 cynics, there will be quite a few lower scores as we go for the season. Scene of the episode, no surprise guys, Spike and Buffy in the alley. MVP of the episode, again I'm sounding a bit predictable, but I'm going to go with Spike. Some great scenes with him and Buffy, some great acting between the two of them, between Master Sarah Michelle Gellar. He's only in the episode briefly, but pretty much every scene Spike is in, I think, is a really good scene. Like, it has a place in the episode where he first realises Buffy is alive. The fight that he has with Xander outside not long after the alley scene. There's also quite a decent little scene with Buffy and Spike in the tomb. So it is MVP for me, Spike, and believe me, there's a chance I won't be saying that very much this season. Run-up I'll say is Dawn, because she has a good episode. Honor also has a very good episode. Thinking of a villain for the episode, but it's really hard because I don't think any of the main characters of what I would say is a bad episode. I think Willow gets a little bit annoying at times, like her constant manic, okay, just give her time, just give her space. 1 or 2 too many times she does that stuff with Buffy. Not so much that it took me out of the episode. She does have that really good magic scene with Tara, where technically she does use black magic at the end of it, but on this occasion it works out, so we'll forgive her that. At a stretch, give her villain of the episode, but it's almost by default more than anything. Evil ghost, just because the monologue in it couldn't make up its mind whether it was a ghost or a demon. End of the episode, I'm going to give that to Spike as well. That's the thing about magic, there's always consequences. Always. But Dawn's clean neck and wet potatoes line is a close second. To be fair, Honor also has some singers in this episode, so I've got a few of them here. The Hitchhiker from Hell line is good. You Are Crazy from Hell, You'll Be Fine to Buffy. And what I love about that and Crawford's delivery is like the end bit, you'll be fine. Like, she whispers it in quite a patronising sort of way. Another funny line from Honor to Dawn later on in the episode. That just means they like to eat things with small bones. Like you. And Dawn's evil look in response is priceless. Honor doesn't mention once in this episode how Xander hasn't told anyone about their freak engagement. Pop culture reference, I'm struggling this week. I don't actually think there was any pop culture references in this episode, which is a rarity. The only thing I could come up with, and I'm not sure if it was intentionally referencing the movie, it just sounds like a common bit of dialogue, because Xander at one point says, hey, I've done a lot of fleeing on these mean streets. I know the shortcuts. Could that be a reference to the film Mean Streets? I probably am stretching. But let's just say if they did intentionally reference Mean Streets, we'll give it to that. Let me know if there are any standout pop culture references, and also what were your favourite lines from the episode. Next time on Buffy the Vampire Slayer, I'll be looking at Season 6, Episode 4. It is called Flooded. When trying to get alone, Buffy runs afoul of 3 deadbeat sorcerers who are using the otherworldly powers of a demon to rob a bank. And I think we all know who those deadbeat sorcerers is. That's next time on Buffy Flooded. I'm going to try and keep these one a week, at least for a while. But just to say thanks again for listening, everyone. Like and subscribe as always. Share me out on social media and do comment. What do you think about this episode? Do you think some of the ghost stuff was a little bit too cheesy? Do you like the drama between Buffy and Spike? Do you like the drama between Buffy and the Scoobies? Are you not so keen on some of the stuff? What do you think overall about Afterlife? Do let me know in the comments. And I'm rambling, so it's the end of the review. Thanks for listening, everyone. I'll be back soon. Keep watching Buffy, keep watching TV soon. Goodbye.
I was gonna go inside, but I overheard you and the Super Friends exchanging a special moment. I came over a bit queasy. Say, aren't you leaving a hole in the middle of some soggy group hug?
Just wanted a little time alone.
Oh, right then.
It's okay. I can be alone with you here.
Thanks ever so. Slayer. Are you okay?
Come here. I'm good.
Buffy, if you're in pain, or if you need anything, or if I can do anything for you.
You can't.
Well, I haven't been to a hell dimension just of late, but I do know a thing or two about torment.
Wherever I was happy. At peace. I knew that everyone I cared about was all right. I knew it. Time didn't mean anything. Nothing had form, but I was still me, you know? And I was warm. And I was loved. And I was finished. Complete. I don't understand theology or dimensions, any of it really. But I think I was in heaven. And now I'm not. I was torn out of there. Pulled out by my friends. Everything here is hard and bright and violent. Everything I feel, everything I touch, this is hell. Just getting through the next moment and the one after that. Knowing what I've lost. I can never know. Never.
Being a slayer is a full-time job, but it doesn't pay the bills.
So you're telling me I'm broke? Start charging.
For what?
Slaying vampires.
Now, let's talk rates.
An all-new Buffy.